So, I'm going to give some examples. All right. Let's see which one is working. I'm sorry for the hassle, guys. Okay. So, relative pronouns. Answerable by who? Okay, so we have he, him, and his. Okay, so the only thing that you should remember is when we use the he pronoun, it is used in the beginning of the sentence. Okay? And then when you use him, it's used at the end of the sentence. Okay? And his is used for ownership. So these are the key areas that you have to remember when using pronouns. Okay? So, let's talk about the pronoun me. Are you supposed to use it in the beginning or at the end of the sentence? Who is at the party? Who will go to the party? Me and my daughter will go to the party, or my daughter and I? So, me is always used at the end. Okay? All right. So, for example, me and my daughter. And my daughter and I. So this is supposed to be at the end of the sentence. For example, we will be joining the party with me and my daughter. Okay? My daughter and I will be joining the party. So do you see the difference between the two? Okay, so we use the whom or which when we have a preposition. So let's have some prepositional sentence examples. The bag. That's why I want to type it, because my writing is so bad, okay? But you have to follow it with a comma. So, which I own is inside the car. Okay. The only time that you're going to use the preposition which is when you are going to use it in a phrase. Okay? That must be sandwiched with commas. Okay? The bag which I own is inside the car. And it talks about possession. Okay? Another example. My bag is in the car. So, alin dito sa dalawang example na to is more simple? My bag is in the car, or the bag which I own is inside the car? Yes, that's why it's okay for you not to use which. If you feel like you're intimidated with this kind of structure, if you're not confident to use this kind of structure. But why are we teaching you this structure? It's simply because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 words. So if you see the difference, definitely in writing, you need to achieve the number of words that you need, right? 250 words or 150 words. So that's why we're encouraging you to use sentence structures with more words. But again, a reminder, if you feel like you're not confident at malilito ka lang din, baka mamaya kulang ng comma yung sentence mo, it's better for you not to use the prepositional phrase with the word which. Okay? But if you're confident that you can use it, why not? Do you get our point? Okay. Now let's use the preposition whom. I mean, the relative pronoun whom. Let's use it in a sentence. Okay? I went to the teacher, comma, whom I know very well. I went to the teacher whom I know very well. Or another sample sentence is saw the boy whom I bumped into this morning. Okay? I saw the boy whom I bumped into this morning. So that's how you use this relative pronoun. It answers the question, who did you see? Right? So that's how you use the relative pronoun whom. It pertains to the boy, the teacher. Okay? Is it clear? Now, how about this? Use that at the beginning of the clause. So when we use that, it can be used as a subject or object. Okay. That man is smart. So the relative pronoun that is pertaining to the man. Okay? So how about if it's used as an object? Remember, subject is used in the beginning of the sentence, object is at the end of the sentence. Okay? Let me show some more examples. And I want you to remember that when you use who, you're pertaining only to people. All right? And then when you use which, you're pertaining to things. But when you use that, it can either be people plus things. So these are the simple things that you have to remember about relative pronouns. Who, whom, whose, people, which, and whose, things. That can both be pertaining to people or things. Okay? The whiteboard. Okay. So do you have any questions about these relative pronouns? Is the explanation clear? Okay. So now let's move on to the next one. Okay. Now let's talk about the indefinite pronouns. So simply, indefinite pronouns pertain to pronouns that don't have a particular person. Okay? They don't pertain to a particular person. It can be, ayan, gumagana na siya. Somebody, someone, something. Okay. So everything, the only thing that you have to remember is that anything with which ends with body and one pertains to people. Okay? And of course, if it ends with thing, automatically it pertains to objects or things. Okay? For example, you say, somebody stole the car. It means there is no specific person identified yet. That's why it's called indefinite pronoun, because there's no definite person. But somebody did that action. Somebody stole the car, okay? Nobody knew about the event. Wow. Saka siya gumana after 10 years. Okay, here guys. Since we can use this the markers, it's a good thing. But it's not used correctly. Okay. So one thing that you have to remember when it comes to indefinite pronouns is that you have to use a singular verb after an indefinite pronoun. Remember, singular verbs are opposite when it comes to the form. It has an S. Okay? Somebody thinks. Singular yung form ng verb na thinks. Somebody thinks Andy stole the car. Okay? Let me type it. So this sentence example, as you can see, we use the indefinite pronoun somebody. Okay? And then the verb is in singular form because it has S. Okay? Magkabaliktad yun ah. When a verb is in singular form, most probably it has an S. If it's in plural form, it doesn't have an S. Sa nouns, pag may S, it's plural. Pag walang S or ES, it's pag walang S, it's singular. Pag merong ES or S, it's plural. Okay. a plural noun to refer back to an indefinite pronoun. What does this mean? So it simply means that you have to use they. For example, let's make a sentence. Everybody is expected to bring food. They should cooperate. So this is what it means when we say that a plural pronoun is used to refer back to the indefinite pronoun. What is our indefinite pronoun? Everybody, right? Gumamit ba tayo ng singular verb? Yes, because we use is. And what is the plural pronoun that we use? They. Okay? So every time you use either of these, any of these, you have to make sure that the succeeding pronoun is in plural form. Okay? Come in. Okay, sige, sige. Okay. Yeah, sure. Another example sentence. Let's use everyone. Everyone must submit his, her, ang gagamitin na pronoun? Are we going to use his, her as the pronoun for everyone? No, because it's in singular form. We're going to use a plural form of pronoun, which is their. Everyone must submit their assignment. We use the indefinite pronoun everyone, and then we use the plural pronoun their. Okay, let's use another indefinite pronoun. Nobody. Okay, let's see. Nobody want or wants. Grabe naman kay Henry. Okay, let's read the example sentence. Hindi nyo nakikita, guys? Ano ba yan? Effort ako sa pag-type. Okay, wait lang, guys. Hanggang ngayon, wala pa din. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Nobody want or wants, Henry. Want or wants? Nobody want or wants? What's the correct answer? Nobody wants Henry as His, her, their boss. Their boss. Okay. Nobody wants Henry as their boss. So we used a plural pronoun to pertain to the indefinite pronoun, which is nobody. Okay? On my screen, I can type something, but I don't know why you can't see it on that screen, guys. Something is really wrong with Zoom. Okay. I'll give more examples. Ayan, nakikita nyo na? How about now? There, you can see it, right? But then it's a little smaller. So let's try again. About na, nakikita ba ng maayos, guys? Okay. This part, hindi din talaga. Okay. Okay. Medyo mas visible na ba siya ngayon? Or not really? But if I type something, you can read it, right? Okay, let's just leave it like this. Para makikita nyo pa rin yung tinatype ko. Okay, so next rule. Okay, never use another negative in a clause with nobody, no one, or nothing. Pero dito pala muna tayo. Okay, you put an apostrophe S in an indefinite pronoun to make it possessive. Okay, let me give you some examples for this. Everybody's parking area. Let's say the context is people in the neighborhood in the same subdivision, okay? So who does the parking area belong to? Everybody's. Because you put an apostrophe S, it became possessive, okay? It means it talks about ownership. Let's use the indefinite pronoun someone. Someone's umbrella. Whose umbrella is it? Someone's umbrella. Now it became possessive. Whose car is it? It's Shannon's car. So it became possessive. Now, if you're gonna use an indefinite pronoun and you don't know who it belongs to, or it doesn't belong to anyone, no one's car. It means in the room, the car doesn't belong to anybody, okay? It's no one's car. Or you don't know who the owner of the car is. Okay. This is one of the most important rules when it comes to indefinite pronouns. Never use another negative in a clause with nobody, no one, or nothing. So nobody, no one, nothing. These are all negative indefinite pronouns. Meaning, hindi nyo na siya gagamitan ng another negative word. For example, I do not have nothing. The correct sentence is, I do not have anything. Because anything is a positive indefinite pronoun. So, I do not have nothing is double negative. Because the word nothing, the indefinite pronoun nothing, is already negative, and then you added another negative word, which makes it grammatically incorrect. Okay? Let me give you another example. Okay, I'll give you some examples and let's figure out if you can choose or pick the correct answer.
Don't say on.
Okay, these are three different example sentences.
Hmm.
No
Andun
one
na.
has nothing.
Ikaw. Singkan of daddy. Magmumotor kami.
Can you please
Ma,
mute your
pwede,
microphones?
pwede ako.
Okay, so no one has nothing, anyone has nothing, no one has anything. Which is the correct sentence? Okay, people answered that the third sentence is correct. Who agrees? Does everybody agree that that is the correct answer? Let's figure out if that's correct. Nagdalawang isip siya. Okay, so first of all, the first sentence is no one. This is a negative and negative. So automatically, it's wrong. Anyone is also a negative. Okay? So, this is wrong. And the correct answer is no one. One negative and one positive. So, this makes it correct. Okay? No one has anything. Okay, now let's talk about the word else. Use else after indefinite pronouns to refer to people or things in addition to the ones already mentioned. Okay. If itatagalog natin yung word na else, it simply means may iba. Someone else. No one else, wala nang iba. You make it negative. All right? Okay. Some sentence samples. Using indefinite pronouns. He is dating someone else. Would you like anything else? The kids wanted ice cream, but everyone else wanted halo-halo. Biglang halo-halo. Okay. So, the kids wanted ice cream, but everyone else wanted halo-halo. You can grab all the books. You can grab all the books from the shelf. Nothing else. Meaning, you can't get anything else, just the books. Alright? Huwag mong pakialaman yung bookshelf. Kung ano mang nakaipit doon or anything, just get the books. Okay? Alright. Are we having steak for dinner? No. Mom is cooking something else. Okay? All right, I think I've given enough examples for that specific topic. So now let's move on to the next. This is very important. Pronoun antecedent agreement. You have to make sure that the following pronoun must agree with the subject that you're using. Okay? It must agree in number and it must also agree in person. It simply means that you have to use a pronoun to refer to a noun mentioned earlier in the text. Okay. Ganito lang yan kasimple, guys. Mary had a little lamb. She brings it with her at school. Di ba totoo naman? Dinala niya sa school yung lamb niya. Anyways, so our subject is Mary, okay? So definitely Mary is a feminine name and we all know Mary is a girl. So what pronoun should we use? She and her. So that's what antecedent agreement simply means. Napakadali lang. Ang hirap nung like medyo masyashock ka sa antecedent agreement. Ano yun? And then, yun lang pala yung ibig sabihin. That your subject must agree with the pronoun that you're going to use. Okay? Now, why is it important for us to talk about this? Because in your writing tasks, there are a lot of cases that you're going to be using the subjects such as students, teachers, individuals, pupils. Okay? Now, malilito kayo. What pronoun am I going to use? That's why you have to make sure, if you're not sure about the gender, don't attempt to assume pagdating sa police officers, lalaki na agad porket most police officers are men. Why don't we have police officers who are women? Right? Now, we are living in a gender equal community, society. So we have to make sure that we're not biased in using pronouns. So when it comes to police officer, the police officer is very brave. Unang papasok sa isip natin, lalaki si police officer. Unang-una, yung police officer medyo nag-assume tayo na lalaki agad. Tapos brave pa. But if we assume that the police officer who's brave is, and we're gonna use him or his as the pronoun, we're being gender biased. That's why we have to make sure that we use his, her, if you're not sure about the gender, but it's quite informal to use this in writing. That's why, in order for you not to make mistakes with the gender of the pronoun, make sure that your subject is always in plural form so that you could use plural form of pronouns. Okay? The police officers were brave. They were able to chase down the suspect. So our subject is police officers in plural form, and the pronoun we use is they, which means na nag-agree. Okay? It's that simple. Okay, so para naman ma-apply natin yung lesson today, I need you to write down on your notes. I can see you have notes, right? I need you to use a scenario with the antecedent agreement. Okay? Make a sentence using a plural subject and the pronoun. Okay, magbibigay ako ng example dito and try to construct your own sentence, okay? These are the sample sentences that I've written. Make one example each. What I mean is, one example na singular si subject and one example na plural si subject. And then I need to check if you're using the correct pronouns. Kung nag-agree ba yung mga pronouns ninyo. Okay? So sa mga Zoom participants, you can submit your answers here via private chat. You can just send it to me privately if you don't want to expose your answers, okay? Okay, can you try to give me some of your example sentences? Or do you want me to just check it one by one? Nagulat naman sila. Okay, don't worry. I won't So make sure you use the pronoun so that I can check if they're agreeing. Got it. Perfect. Perfect. Got it. So how about you? Okay, so you need to make another one. I think we should come closer so that we can see. Okay, I think most of you got it. Okay, most of you got it. So you understood the assignment, so we can move on to the next topic. Okay. More example sentences. Okay, before I move on to some more, to the next one, I'm gonna give you some examples as like words. Kasi dati, yung mga words masyadong masculine in form. For example, the word mankind. Okay? You can say, you can use humanity. Or fireman. Meron namang mga firefighters na ngayon na women na din. So instead of saying fireman, you can say firefighters. Okay? And dati ang tawag sa flight attendants, air hostess. Air hostess. But you can simply call them cabin crew. It makes it gender neutral. Have you noticed how gender neutral it has become by changing the words? Okay? Para hindi kayo mahirapan gumamit ng pronouns, just make sure that you're using gender neutral terms. Okay. Okay, use the pronouns either and neither also as singular. The need for pronoun antecedent agreement doesn't create any problems when the gender is clearly specified. Okay? Pag clearly specified yung gender, you won't have any problem with your pronoun antecedent. But of course, if it's not mentioned or if you don't have prior knowledge about the gender of the subject, that would be difficult. That's why you have to make sure to adjust your writing skills. May nag-submit ng answer. Okay. Those are some sentence examples. Mm. Okay, so now let's talk about one or ones. How to use one on or ones in sentences. Pronouns din yung one or ones, ah. Pronouns din to. Because they are replacement for subjects. Okay? He is the one. Andrew is the one. Okay? So definitely, it's obvious that you will use one when you're pertaining to a singular subject and ones when you're pertaining to plural subjects. Why should we use one once as a pronoun? Of course, so that you can avoid unnecessary repetition. Imagine the sentence would keep repeating the word children. The children are our future. The children light the way. The children are our inspiration. It doesn't sound cohesive, it sounds repetitive, and definitely there's no basta hindi siya maganda pakinggan, okay? The children are our future. You can replace it with they are, they light the way. They are the ones. The children are inspiration. Or you can say they are the ones who inspire us. Ano mas maganda pakinggan? Yung kaninang example na puro the children, or eto? The children are our future. They light the way. They are the ones who inspire us. Di ba parang ang competitive pakinggan pag ganyan yung writing style mo? When you use the right type of pronouns. Okay? Some more examples. DOH is the one responsible for tallying the daily COVID cases. Ano na department yung responsible sa pagtatali ng ng votes? Thank you. Kasi malamit na yung botohan, guys. Vote wisely. Comelec is the one responsible for tallying the votes. Okay. As you can see, the organization is considered as a singular subject. That's why we use is. Okay? And then the one. Hindi once, one. Okay? So that's how you use the pronoun one. Okay. How about another example? Yung may once naman, okay? The daycare students are graduating. May graduation na ngayon ang daycare, guys. Alam niyo ba yun? The daycare, sabi kasi ni Sir Kevin, attend daw siya ng graduation ng anak niya. Sabi ko, ha? Eh, di ba 2 years old pa lang yung anak mo? May graduation na pala ngayon yung, daycare. The daycare students are graduating in May. In May or on May? Sige nga. So we use in when there's no specific date, but it's within the month. In. But if I say on May 20th, that's when we use the preposition on. When we're pertaining to a particular date on May 19th, on May 20th. The daycare students are graduating in May. Those young ones are so excited. So we have our subject is daycare students, right? Which is plural. And then we have young ones. Itong ginamit nating pronoun na ones because we're pertaining to the students. Okay. Again, the rule is if you feel confident using these different pronouns, you may do so for additional words. But if you feel like you're not confident with the pronouns, just try to use different sentence structures that are simpler, okay? But the reason why we're encouraging you to learn these is because it could be helpful to secure more words in your essays or writing tasks. All right, I think this is already clear. We can move on to the next. I really like the next topic. It's about indefinite articles. Finally, we will learn how to use the word the, a, and an correctly. Okay? So we call them indefinite articles because they're pertaining to nouns in sentences that are not specific. Okay? So we use the indefinite article a or an. Just a quick reminder, we use a when when the following word starts with a consonant sound, and an if the following word starts with a vowel sound. Vowel sound, hindi yung vowel na vowel lang kailangan yung sound. For example, okay, yung word na honor. It starts with a consonant, but it sounds like a vowel kasi silent H. Okay, so an honor student. Okay? Not a honor student. Pero kung sasabihin mo, he is a horror student, pwede yun. Okay? Kasi and then consonant sound. We use count nouns when the hearer reader does not know exactly which one we are referring to. Okay. Can you please hand me an apple? Ibig lang sabihin nun, in the basket, there are many apples. Hand me one apple. An apple. Kahit alin doon, basta apple. Alright? But if I say, can you please hand me the apple? Meaning, isa lang yung apple na nasa lamesa, yun lang yung kukunin mo. Alright? That's the difference between the and and an. When you're using and or an, we're pertaining to things that are not definite. Or you don't know exactly which one it is. Okay, so we have here some pens or markers here. Get me a marker. Ang daming marker, ma'am. Alin dito? Any marker. Okay? Just get me a marker. But if this marker is on that desk and I tell you, get me the marker, it means isa lang yung marker sa table and that's the marker that I need. And I want you to get me. Okay? So, let's say you invited your friends to your house for the first time. It's a new house. They don't know the location yet. And let's say yung panahon na to wala pang share lock or share location feature yung messenger, right? So, your friend is asking you how to get to your house. I live in a 2-story house. The house is 5 kilometers away. Ang OA naman ng 5 kilometers is 1 kilometer away from the subdivision's entrance. As you can see, in this example sentence, we use the indefinite article a pertaining to the house. My house, okay? Meaning, marami kasing bahay sa subdivision. So, I can't say I live in the house. I can only say I live in the house at the corner lot at Main Street. Ibig sabihin, sa Main Street, iisa lang yung corner lot at yun lang yung bahay na nandun. I mean, no, yun lang yung bahay na nasa corner lot. Kaya sabi ko, I live in the house at the corner lot of Main Street. Si Main Street, iisa lang yung corner lot. Ginamit ko yung word na the because I'm pertaining to one specific house. But here in this sentence, I use the indefinite article a because I'm pertaining to one of the houses, which is 1 kilometers away from the entrance. Maraming bahay, which is 1 kilometers away from the entrance. But I live in a 2-story house. So, kaya ako dinagdag yung word na 2-story kasi malay mo yung mga katabi kong bahay, bungalow lang. So, agad-agad mahanap yung bahay ko. Okay? Is it clear? Let me give an example with Anne. Okay. Another example with Anne. For example, your mom asks you to get something from the kitchen. It started raining this morning. That's the context, okay? This sentence means they don't only have one umbrella in the stockroom. They have probably 2, 3, or more than one. But I'm asking you to get me an umbrella, one umbrella. I didn't say which specific umbrella I want. I just said, get me an umbrella. Kasi nagmamadali na ako. I'm gonna be late. Just get me any umbrella. That's why you use the indefinite article am. But if I want to be more specific, we're gonna say, get me the automatic umbrella from the stockroom. Ang social nyo naman, ma'am. May stockroom pa kayo? Kami sa ano lang eh. Doon na sa labas ng pinto nakasabit yung umbrella. Okay. Get me the automatic umbrella from the stockroom. Definitely, the meaning of the sentence changes because it means that iisa lang yung automatic umbrella sa stockroom. Kaya ginamitan natin ng article na the. Kaya yung article na the, hindi siya indefinite. It's actually called a definite article because it's pertaining to one specific thing. All right? And it's very important for you to know how to use this article. Why? Because it's the most frequent word in the English language. The word the. Saan ba natin makikita yung word na the? We can read it in book titles. We can read it in movie or series titles. The Notebook. The Avengers. Charlie and Willy Wonka's... Uy, walang the doon. Sorry, yun lang naisip kong book. The Princess Diary. What else? You can even encounter the word the when you're talking about countries, places, right? The Opera House, the Philippines, the Maldives, the United States. Kung mapapansin nyo, they have a common denominator. Napaka-bihira lang ng mga lugar and countries with the article the. So, since meron tayong the Philippines, we're very special. Okay? Isa yung karangalan that our country is not a typical country. We have the word the. Well, because it's a collective form. Kasi Philippines is a collection of 7,000 or more islands. Kaya siya the Philippines. Yung Maldives, hindi lang din siya isang island. Marami siya, right? The Maldives. And then the United States, it's composed of different states. That's why it's called the United States. So definitely, you have to know how to use the article the, because magkamali ka lang sa the or kinulang ka lang sa the, it's gonna be a grammatical liability on your writing tasks. I'm putting emphasis on the writing tasks because definitely in speaking, kung magkamali ka man sa grammar, kulangin man yan ng articles or mamali ka man sa articles, you can slip away with it because speaking lang yun eh. Alright? But when you're writing, you're leaving evidences. Right? You're leaving a track. So definitely you have to be careful. So let's read this part. Use the definite article in front of a noun when you believe the hearer or reader knows exactly what you are referring to. Okay, I already discussed that. Just a reminder. Guys, hindi na ako magpapa-break time kasi medyo late tayo nag-start. So, tuloy-tuloy na lang natin. By the way, I do have time for those who want to have coaching later, okay? Sa mga gusto lang naman. Yung ayaw, walang pilitan. Yesterday kasi, I think that was around 12 students lang yung na-coaching ko. Ang aga ko kasi umalis around 1:30. Ganun. Okay. So now we will proceed with our next topic, which is quantifiers. So from the word itself, quantity, okay, it means we're talking about how much or how many, okay? That's why we call them quantifiers. Ito lang may nag-message. RG, you want to have a virtual one-on-one coaching session? Sure, okay. I'll call you. I think we've had one coaching session online as well last time, so probably we can do it again. And you can just DM me later. Thank you, RG. All right, so quantifiers are used to give someone information about the number of something. It answers the question how much or how many. So, ito yung mga quantifiers na gagamitin mo when you are pertaining to uncount nouns. What are uncount nouns? Nouns na hindi mo kayang bilangin with your hands or like hindi siya ideally kayang bilangin. Hypothetically, yes, kaya mo siyang bilangin. Like yung grains of coffee or yung sugar. Bilangin mo, sige, isa-isa hanggang kailan ka abutin. But the thing is, they are considered uncount nouns. Sugar. Kasi ginagamit natin sila. How do we measure them? By weighing them and other stuff. But they are considered uncount nouns. So the quantifiers that we use for uncount nouns are all, any, enough, less, a lot of, lots of, more, most, no one, no, none of, and some. Now, if we're pertaining to count nouns or nouns that you can count with your hands, you can use these quantifiers, both, each, either, few, fewer, neither, and several. Okay? Let me give you some examples first. So, yung mga non-count nouns or uncount nouns, hindi lang siya yung makikita mo sa kusina. But mostly, sila yon, okay? Like sugar, milk. Sugar, coffee, flour, water. But did you know that there are uncount nouns that are also intangible? Pag sinabi natin intangible, you can't touch it. And they're also called abstract nouns, such as faith. You can say, I have so much faith in you, right? Hope, love. Those are uncount or non-count nouns. Okay? And I want you to remember that most uncount nouns are in either powder or liquid form. Yon. Para mabilis niyong maalala. Ah, yun pala yung uncount noun, yung mga powdery or liquidy in form. Okay? Like butter. It actually turns into liquid. Okay, juice. Beer. Friday na ngayon. Share ko lang. Okay. Um, Paano natin gagamitin yung mga uncount nouns na to when we're using quantifiers? How much sugar should I put in my batter? Put all the sugar. It quantifies how much sugar. All the sugar in the cup. Okay? Can you please put less water in my coffee? How much water do I want in my coffee? Less water. I drank I drank lots of beer last night. That's why now I have a hangover. Baka maniwala kayo, example sentence lang yun. Okay. Something went wrong with my cake. I probably put a lot of flour in it. Okay? How did you make this mocktail? It tastes so good. I added some fruits, but most of it is made of juice. Okay? Now, if the quantifiers that you're going to use is both, each, either, fewer, neither, and several, you will be pertaining to count nouns. Okay. What are count nouns? Pencils, cars, countries, cups, phones. Okay, now let's make some example sentences. Hey, the boy and the girl are poor. We use the indefinite pronoun they because we're pertaining to both the girl and the boy. And we use the quantifier both. They are both starving. Okay? Another example. Which book have you chosen to read? Lagyan ko ba? Alam ko may quotation pag title eh. Tama ba? Okay. I have neither of the two. Okay? Which book have you chosen to read? Harry Potter or The Chronicles of Narnia? Neither of the two. The oranges are extra ripe. Several of them are too sweet. Okay? Several of them or several of the oranges. Again, you have to notice the nouns that are used and they are countable. Okay? Okay, next. Do you have any questions? Okay, you have to remember a little, not much, and a bit of are used when you're only pertaining to uncount nouns. Okay? For example, would you like some tea? Just give me a little. Tea is uncountable, right? Can you give me a bit of sugar? Uncount noun. I have so much hope in this country. Hope, uncount noun. Both, either, neither, if you're talking about two people or things. I gave you an example already earlier. Use a singular verb for nouns with either and neither. Singular verb only. Okay? Now let's talk about incorrect usage, subject verb agreement. Okay, let me remind you about subject verb agreement. This simply means that your subject must agree with your verb. Okay? If your subject is in plural form, your verb must also be in plural form. Subject verb agreement. Or SVA. So, singular verb noun, singular verb. Example sentence. Anna is pretty. The verb is singular, is. Anna, the subject, is singular. Okay? Use every or each with a singular noun to mean all. Every student in the class is bright. So, ginamit natin yung quantifier na every. And we use is. Because every is a singular noun. That's why we also use a singular verb, is. Every student in the class is bright. Bright also means smart. Okay? Another example sentence. Each staff is given a bonus. Okay? Holistically, we're pertaining to all the staff. Each staff. That's why we use is. Each staff is given a bonus. Never use a determiner with every and each. Kasi nga, yung determiner, ginagamit lang siya sa singular nouns. The book, an apple. So, hindi mo na siya kailangan gamitan ng every tsaka each. Kasi ibig sabihin lang nun, you're redundant. Every and each is already pertaining to the singular nouns. Okay? Isa sa mga common mistakes ng mga Filipinos when making a sentence is usually would type the farm is wait please. Let me check for an example sentence with okay. Ito pala, babaguhin ko example ah. The student must bring a book. Dalawa yung pwedeng correction dito. What do you think is the correct form of this sentence? Mali tong sentence na to, okay? Each of the students, babaguhin natin yung, lalagyan natin ng preposition na of, and gagawin natin plural yung students. Must bring a book. Or, simply remove the article the. Each student must bring a book. Okay? So, definitely, hindi mo to gagamitin sa sentence sa ganito. Each of the students must bring a book or each student must bring a book. Okay, let me give another example for clarification. What is wrong with this sentence? So it should simply be Exactly. Napaka-fast learners ng batch na to, ah. Joke lang. Baka sabihin ng ibang mga batch, I'm shaming them. Okay. Each of them has a different perspective. Right. One more example. Yung every naman. He greeted the every guest at the party. What's the mistake here? How could this sentence be corrected? I already gave you a clue. There is a mistake in this sentence, and we need to fix it. Yes, exactly. Remove the. You can't put them together. Hindi lang talaga sila pwedeng pagsamahin. It's like oil and water, okay? She greeted every guest at the party. It's as simple as that. Okay? Ba't ba student na lang? Iba na lang. Hey, what seems to be wrong? Dalawa yung ipapakorek ko sa inyo. Yung error, tapos pili kayo kung was or were. Sige, pag-isipan nyo mabuti. Does everybody agree with her answer? We will omit the word the. Kasi nga, sabi ko lang kanina, you can't put them together anymore since the quantifier already serves as a quantifier, so you can't add an article, okay? Sure kayo sa was? Nililito ko lang kayo. Okay, every guest was welcomed with a drink. Remember when we use quantifiers, we use singular verbs. There you go. Okay, clear? Next. Use both either and neither if talking about two people or things. I already gave you an example earlier with the Harry Potter book and the Chronicles of Narnia. Use a singular verb for nouns with either and neither. Singular verb. Choose the correct verb. Malilito kayo kasi girls, oh. Pero may either eh. So ano kaya talaga yung tama? Parang nagdi-disagree ata si... Just kidding. Okay. Sabi, you have to use a singular verb. Is. So, kahit nakakalito, kasi nga, girls ang nilagay, meron tayong quantifier na either. Kaya dapat singular verb. Either of the girls is ready. Next. Either of the clubs. What's the correct answer? Kakasabi lang, oh, singular verb eh. Okay. All right. Neither of the clubs is open. Okay, so we're done here. Let's move on to present progressive versus simple tense. Tenses naman ang pag-usapan natin ngayon. Okay. These are simple reminders on how to use the simple present tense. From the word itself, present tense, it means it's happening in the present, but it also means that it's a permanent situation. Hindi porket hindi na siya nangyayari at this very moment, hindi na siya simple present tense. For example, facts and general truths, permanent situations, habits. I am having yoga sessions. Does it mean that I'm having a yoga session now? No, but it means I'm enrolled in a yoga class and I'm continuously having yoga sessions. Okay? So meaning, ongoing yung enrollment ko. Let's say I enrolled this May for 2 months. I paid 2 months advance. Meaning, even even sa future, may yoga sessions ako, it just means that it's a fact. It's a permanent situation. Okay? Not unless I quit or hindi na ako hindi na ako mag-continuous. Let's say I paid for only half of the year. Okay? But don't be concerned with that. Just be concerned with facts, general truths. So what are facts and general truths? Cats love milk. Okay? That's a simple present tense. Not all the cats love milk, but most cats love milk, right? It's a general truth. Dogs hate water. Maybe your dog loves to swim, but most dogs hate the water, right? It's a general truth. It's a fact. The London Bridge is falling down. Sino wala nang maisip na example. So, sana all nafo-fall. Sana all nafo-fall. Just kidding. Okay, the London Bridge is falling down. Meaning, as of the moment, the London Bridge is falling down. No, just kidding. I just added that for joke purposes. So, permanent situations. What are permanent situations? Sino si TS? Taylor Swift. Okay. It's a permanent situation. I'll always be forever in love with her. Okay. Next, we have habits. I run in the morning. Am I running? Did I, regardless if I ran this morning or not, the fact is my habit is to run in the morning. And it's a simple past tense. Okay? I run in the morning. It means that I only run in the morning, not in the afternoon, not at night, in the morning. So that's why it's a permanent situation. If I choose to run, it's in the morning. Okay? What else? Now, what is the difference between simple present tense and present progressive? From the word itself, present progressive, it means it's happening even in the future. Okay? Um, she is taking up culinary arts. It's an unfinished action, meaning hindi pa siya graduate, pero nag-aaral siya. Okay? She is taking up culinary arts. In, saan ba may culinary arts sa school? Lazal na lang. Tapos wala palang ganung course sa Lazal, ano? She is taking up culinary arts in Lazal. All right, meaning it's an unfinished action. Hindi pa siya nakaka-graduate. Another example is so this is an example of a situation wherein hindi pa sila tapos mag-play ng soccer. Okay? They are playing soccer in the park. Kung mapapansin nyo, may ing pag progressive. Present progressive. Yung simple present tense, yun lang yung the cat. Cat loves milk. Dogs hate water. Pero yung present progressive, may ing. Okay? All right. Why is it important for you to know how to use simple present and present progressive? Because there are questions in the speaking subtest. For example, what is your ideal date, or what is your ideal vacation? So, are you going to use the future tense or the present tense? Future tense, because it's a hypothetical situation, right? Or what do you like doing in your leisure time? Present progressive tense, I like studying. Okay? I like baking. I enjoy baking. And in your writing tasks, definitely, you will be encountering graphs. May mga timeline yan. Okay? So, you have to use the correct tense when you're describing the timeline. Okay? That's why it's very important. And now we will move on to run-on and comma splices. I really like this topic because ang dami kong napapansin na errors even sa speaking when it comes to run-ons and comma splices, okay? First of all, a run-on sentence. It means you combine two independent clauses without any punctuation mark or simply using comma. Okay? Let me give you an example. An example of a run-on sentence. First of all, let me just tell you what is an independent clause. It means it's a sentence with a complete thought. Okay? So if a sentence already has a complete thought, you have to finish it up with a comma, or you have to finish it up with a period. Okay? Or else combine them with a comma. Okay. Ayaw ma-clear. So, let's read this example sentence. I hate this movie, it's boring. Did you know that this sentence actually has two independent clauses? I hate this movie. It's a complete thought. We have a subject, I, and a predicate, hate this movie. It's so boring. They are both complete thoughts. Okay? So, if you want to correct this sentence, you have to put a comma. I hate this movie. It's so boring. Or another way to correct it is semicolon. Or a connecting word. Alright? So, yung mga small details na nakakaligtaan natin, like not putting a comma, not using a connecting word, it all adds up to your accumulated grammatical mistakes. And if you have more than 7 grammatical mistakes, that's gonna eat up a big chunk of your score in grammar. That's why you have to be careful with run-on sentences, okay? Another correction that you could make is simply divide the sentences with a period. I hate this movie. It's so boring. As you can see here sa slide ko, may nakalagay, use an M dash or long dash. But the thing is, ayaw namin i-encourage to kasi very confusing ang paggamit ng dash. Ayan yung dash. Okay? It's for pro users. Yung dash yung line na ganun, okay? But if, again, you're confident, pagdating sa grammar, feeling mo kaya mong gumamit ng dash. And You're confident. Then, okay. But kung konti na lang yung MB natin sa brain, simplehan na lang natin, guys, para sure, para safe na hindi magkakamali. Okay? Yes, exactly. Sometimes less is more, right? Oh my gosh, saan na napunta? Bumalik tayo sa tenses. Okay, magbibigay pa ako ng sample ng comma splices para mas clear. By the way, on run-on sentences, you can use um conjunctions to combine words. Yun yung because, okay? And stuff like that. So another example of comma splices is this one. Comma splices simply means you added a comma in the middle of the sentence without knowing the right function. Okay? I went to the mall, Jane was there. Let's correct this. Mali kasi yung placement ng comma. So it should be I went to the mall and Jane was there. Or pwede namang two separate sentences. I went to the mall, Jane was there. Or ibahin mo yung structure. When I went to the mall, Jane was there. Yan. Pwede lang lagyan ng comma if sisimulan mo siya with the word when. When I went to the mall, Jane was there. Hindi pwedeng I went to the mall, Jane was there. Okay? So, ayan yung mga correct sentences. Okay, more examples of common. Example with comma splices. I'm gonna give another example of a run-on sentence, okay? So, this is another run-on sentence. Pinilit mong pagkasyahin lahat ng ideas mo sa iisang sentence, okay? Kasi may pagkamapilit ka. All right, so the sun is shining, birds are chirping, I should go for a walk. So how do we correct this sentence? The sun is shining and the birds are chirping, period. I should go for a walk. Okay? Mm. Or pwede rin naman itong isang option. Just separate all the sentences, the independent clauses with periods. Okay? Let's move on. So these are the conjunctions that you should use when you're talking about cause and effect. Teka lang, i-share ko na yung bigger screen para makita nyo. Can you see it better now? Okay. So when you are talking about cause and effect, we use conjunctions such as because, since, so that. The rate of teenage pregnancy has been skyrocketing because of certain factors. Comparison and contrast, we use conjunctions such as although, even though, whereas, while. The US had a 55% inflation, while the Philippines had a 60% inflation within 2025. There's comparison and contrast, right? Place and manner, how, however, where, wherever. For example, most pupils were able to undergo the survey. However, some of them had very poor reading comprehension. Possibility and conditions, we use if, whether, unless, provided that, as long as. If the rate decreased to 20% last year, it could increase 30% this year. Possibility or conditions, okay? Relation, that, which, who, and time, you could use these conjunctions. After, before, since, when, whenever, while, until, as soon as, by the time. Okay? Okay. So why do you need to know how to use these conjunctions? Because you have to avoid writing fragmented sentences. When we say fragmented sentences, those sentences that are divided with conjunctions. So kailangan you have to just add a comma and use the conjunction, or else magiging fragmented yung sentence. It means it doesn't have a complete thought. Okay? You can't allow a dependent clause alone in one sentence, or else it doesn't make sense. It makes it grammatically wrong. Okay, another problem that we have is inability to come up with varied sentence types. What are the different types of sentences? These are very basic, guys. Simple sentences, compound sentences. We learned this in elementary. But just as a refresher, when we say simple sentence, there's one clause. Okay? Baka malito kayo ah. I'll give you some examples. So, simple sentence, Greg is... Ay, masyadong maliit. How can I make this bigger? Di ba nalalakihan? Ah, ayun. Okay. Greg is spying on his girlfriend. Obsessive. Possessive. Okay. Greg is spying on his girlfriend. We have a subject and a predicate. It's a simple sentence. Now, what if I say, what is this? A compound or a simple sentence? It's a simple sentence. Why? Not, hindi porket may conjunction, nagiging compound na ha. Nagiging compound lang ang sentence kapag dalawa ang independent clauses. Or more, two or more independent clauses. Okay? Pero sa sentence na to, Greg and his brothers, dalaway subject, pero iisa lang yung predicate, which means it's just a simple sentence. Okay? Pero kung babaguhin natin yung example at sabihin natin, Greg is playing tennis and his brothers are playing golf. Ang syala ng mga hobbies naman nila. Greg is playing tennis and his brothers are playing golf. The first independent clause is Greg is playing tennis. There is a subject, there is a predicate. The second independent clause is his brothers are playing golf. Now, because of the conjunction, it becomes a compound sentence, meaning dalawa ang independent clauses. And for you to be able to make it a compound sentence, you have to make sure that you use coordinating conjunctions. Those are words that connect two independent clauses in one sentence. Do you have any questions? Okay. I'll give another example for clarification purposes. Tina is enjoying the camping trip. This is a simple sentence. One subject, one predicate. It's an independent clause. Okay? Tina and her family are flying to the Maldives. Sana all na lang, Tina. Okay, Tina and her family are flying to the Maldives. Simple, still a simple sentence. Tina is flying to Singapore tonight, but her dog is left at home. Okay, which among these sentences is not a simple sentence? Are we all confident that the last sentence is the compound sentence? Yes, because we have one independent clause. Tina is flying to Singapore tonight. It's a complete thought. Tina is flying to Singapore tonight. And another independent clause, her dog is left at home. How do you know that it's an independent clause? Kasi kahit alisin mo yung conjunction, they can stand as a sentence. My complete thought. Okay? There. Bakit ayaw mabura, no? May something. Okay. You can feel it. Now let's move on to the more complex sentence. Okay? Literally, complex talaga to. Meaning, it's a bit more confusing. There are more rules to it. But you need to identify these types of sentences as well. So, combine a main clause and one or more adverbial clauses. Usually comes after the main clause. Okay. So, may instances din naman na yung adverbial clause comes in the beginning. Okay? It can be interchanged. It depends how you construct it. Okay? For example, if you need help, let me know. Alin dito yung independent clause? If you need help or let me know? Nalito kayo bigla kasi iniba na yung structure. Yung independent clause, let me know. Kasi guys, yung let me know, meron siyang invisible na you. You let me know, okay? But when you say let me know, let me in. I'm not talking to anybody else, I'm talking to you. Let me know, okay? Invisible lang yung you, pero meron talaga siyang subject na you. Understood na yon. Let me know. So this is the independent clause. Okay? This is the adverbial clause or yung dependent clause. If you need help. Kung mapapansin nyo, hindi siya complete thought. If you need help. Lalo na yung word na if, it means may kaduktong. Okay? If you need help, let me know. This is a complex sentence. Okay. Another example is she will Grabe naman tong sentence na to. Okay.
Sa kakanood ko to ng mga ano guys, true crime documentaries. Okay, this is just an example. She will go to jail since she murdered her spouse. Which among these two clauses is the independent clause? Yes, she will go to jail. My subject, my predicate. Complete yung thought. She will go to jail since she murdered her spouse. Yung dependent clause na since she murdered her spouse, hindi siya complete thought. It's leaving you hanging since she murdered her spouse. So what? What's next? Okay? So, kaya siya tinawag na complex sentence. Kasi hindi dalawang independent clause ang magkaduktong. Ang magkasama sa complex sentence ay isang independent at isang dependent clause. Pwede rin natin i-switch up yon. Since she murdered her spouse, she will go to jail. This time, comma. Kasi nauna na yung ano natin, since, okay? Napanood niyo ba yung ano, yung balita about sa ka-work na I think it just happened May 7 or May 8. Magka-work sila, like sa isang fast food restaurant. And then, pinakita yung CCTV footage sa TikTok eh. Pinagpapatay niya yung ka-work niya. Like, pinagsasaksak niya talaga. Just because hindi sila nagkasundo sa parang inventory. Ang lala talaga. Tapos, sunod-sunod yung mga pangit na balita eh. Like, yung mga road accidents, yung sa NAIA, yung sa SCTEX, right? I can't help but watch those kinds of videos. Kaya huwag kayong magtaka kung ba't ganito yung mga example. Okay. More examples of complex sentence kasi alam ko medyo cloudy pa at this very moment. Hindi porket maiksi lang, hindi na siya independent clause. Pwedeng dalawang words lang, pero sentence na yun, ah. For example, everyone clapped. Everyone is the subject, clapped is the predicate. Right? Yan yung independent clause. Everyone clapped. Let me picture out mo. Everyone clapped, right? When the movie ended, ito yung dependent clause. This is the main clause or the independent clause, and this is the dependent clause because it can't stand on its own. From the word dependent, independent, magigets mo din eventually, right? Pwede rin naman, everyone clapped when the movie ended. No need to, can you, no need to add a comma, okay? Yeah, okay, no need to add a comma. Everyone clapped when the movie ended. Same pa rin complex sentences tong dalawa na to ah. Iniba lang yung formation. Now it will get more confusing because we're gonna talk about the compound complex. Pag sinabing compound complex, magkasama ang compound sentences at complex situation. Okay? So how do we do this? Simply by adding two independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. Okay, it will get confusing, so please hang in there. Okay. Let's read it aloud. She wanted to go hiking, but it started raining before we could even start. Two independent clauses, one or more dependent clause. Okay? Let's identify where is the dependent clause. Yun lang yung clause na hindi buo yung idea, hindi complete yung thought before we could even start. Where is this there's no complete idea here, right? Pero she wanted to go hiking. It can stand on its own. It's an independent clause. It started raining. It's an independent clause. So there you go. This is an example of a compound complex sentence. If you're not confident to make compound complex sentences, just go with the simple or the compound, okay? But if you want to score higher on your grammar, then study it na lang. Okay? Let me just give you one more example. Lalagay ko sa umpisa yung yung dependent clause, guys. Although it was late, we continued the meeting. Okay. This time, baliktad naman yung placement ng dependent clause. Although it was late, adverbial clause yan. And then we continued the meeting. It can stand on its own, and it's an independent clause. The team agreed on the final decision. Again, two independent clauses and two independent clauses and one dependent clause. Okay? Guys, pwede ring more than one dependent clauses. Okay? Pero sobrang complex na nun. Pero let's try. Wait. Okay, eto. Since rainy season na, although it was raining, we left the house and we drove to the store because we needed groceries. Okay. Madugong labanan. Okay, although it was raining. Ayan, you can easily identify that it's a dependent clause, although it was raining. We left the house. Complete thought? Yes, right? It's an independent clause. We drove to the store. Independent or dependent clause? Independent. Kasi my subject, my verb. My subject, my predicate. And another dependent clause because we needed groceries. Okay? Because we needed groceries, so what? See? Hanging yung thought. Kaya siya tinatawag na dependent clause. Pero, if pagsasamahin mo, although it was raining, we left the house and we drove to the store because we needed groceries. Pag pinagsama-sama mo yung dependent and independent clauses, nakabuo ka ng thoughts sa isip mo, right? Umuulan, pero pumunta pa rin kami sa grocery store. Una, we left the house, okay? Even though it was raining, like, kahit umuulan, umalis kami ng bahay, at nag-drive kami papunta sa store, ang hirap tagalugin. Kasi kinailangan namin ng groceries. Or sangkap para sa lulutuin. Bakit tama? O sige, try natin Tagalog ah. Bagamat umuulan. Bagamat umuulan. Bagamat umuulan, kami ay lumarga. Kami ay umalis ng bahay at tumungo sa tindahan. Kasi kailangan namin ng mga sangkap at iba pang gamit. Oh, tama naman ah. Oh, ang galing ko. 10 points. Okay, another example. Kasi gusto ko masaturate kayo eh. Para gets na gets. Even though I was tired, I did the laundry and cleaned the house. Ayan. Okay, there. Even though I was tired, I did the laundry and I cleaned the house because my parents asked me to. Even though I was tired. Dependent or independent clause? Dependent. Because hindi complete yung idea, it leaves you hanging, at parang nag-aabang ka ng kaduktong. Okay? Even though I was tired. Okay. Pero pag tinanggal natin yung even though, and you simply say, I was tired, that's when it becomes an independent clause. Okay? Even though I was tired, I did the laundry and I cleaned the house. I did the laundry, complete thought. My subject, my predicate. I is the subject, did the laundry is the predicate. I cleaned the house. I is the subject, clean the house is the predicate. So, these two are independent clauses pag inalis natin yung conjunction. Because my parents asked me to. Incomplete thought. It leaves you hanging. Paulit-ulit ka, ma'am. Yes, because some students need to be immersed and saturated before they get it, okay? So, in Tagalog challenge na pala. Kahit napagod ako ay naglaba at naglinis ng bahay kasi ayokong madiwara. Ayokong madiwaraan! Kasi hiniling ito ng aking mga magulang. Perfect! So, there you go. Compound complex sentences. Sumakit ulo ng lahat? Yes. Pero may natutunan tayo today? Yes. Okay. Ayaw na niyang mag-next. Parang sabi stop na. Okay. Parallel structure. Let's end. Teka lang. Check ko lang if may prepositions pa, guys. Kaya to. 12:30? Gutom na kayo. Okay. So, parallel structures. Meaning, when you are enlisting things in a sentence, you have to make sure that they have balance. Okay? For example, what are you going to do this weekend? I will probably go hiking or camping with my friends. Hiking, camping, my ing. But if I say, I will probably go camping and go for a hike, it's not parallel. Okay? Make words or phrases parallel when writing things in a list or series, and each word must have the same grammatical form. Okay. Sample sentences. Teka lang. Bibigay ako ng sample sentence para dito. Sheila is a very talented hairstylist. Salon owner. She is good at hairstyling, hair coloring, rebonding, and what have you noticed in this example sentence? Ma'am, lahat ng word may ing. Yes. Kasi kailangan may parallel sila. Meaning, they have to be structured in a way na may cohesiveness. Okay? Sheila is a very talented salon owner. She's good at hairstyling, hair coloring, rebonding, and nail polishing. She is good at hairstyling, or if I change it and I make it wrong, I can say she is good at hairstyling. Doing the hair color, straighten the hair of the customer, and nail polishing. That's not parallel. Okay? That's why it gets confusing. Okay, let me give another example of unparalleled. Ito, sisimplihan ko lang. Andy likes cooking, to jog, and baking. How can I correct this sentence? There you go. Very good. So, sa batch na to, ang ating valedictorian I see. Kanina mo siya yung sumasagot eh. Ano mo pangalan niyo pala, ma'am? Rona. Oh, it's my first time seeing you here. And your name is Chanel? Is it also my first time seeing you? And ano pa? Liz Ann. Liz Ann, Chanel, and Rona. Rona, okay? Ang ate ni Ma'am Rona. Sabi niya kasi Rona. Sabi ni Ma'am, Rona. Rona. So we have Sophia, Rona, Chanel, Liz. Ano? Si Jesus, yes. Kaya pala tahimik yung batch na to. Nandito si Jesus. Okay. That's not supposed to be taken out of context. I'm so sorry, guys. Baka kasi may na-offend sa mga jokes. Di ba ang sensitive ng mga tao these days? Like, they take jokes out of context easily. And we have Jazel. Jzam. Joke lang. Si Jzam in the house. J Zen. Okay. I'll try to remember, okay? I'll try to remember, pero nakalimutan ko na agad yung name niya. Is it Liz N? Liz N. How do I spell it? And then E-N? Okay. Kasi when I know the spelling, that's when I remember how to pronounce it. Okay? So our valedictorian for this meeting is Rana. Kung mapapansin niyo, siya lang yung hindi nonchalant dito. Kasi apparently, I have a nonchalant batch with me. Alam niyo ba yung mga previous batches, sobrang ingay nila. Pero pagdating sa recitation, tumatahimik. Joke lang. Okay, next. Okay. Another example of an unparalleled sentence. He wanted to win the race and earning a trophy. He wanted to win the race and, or dapat ba he wanted to winning the race and earning a trophy? Trophy. No. So may sagot si Chanel. And earn a trophy, okay? Another example is, eto, aakalain natin na okay lang tong sentence na to, but apparently it's not. So let me give you this sentence that is quite seemingly okay, but actually it's not, okay? Okay, let me read it. My job includes answering emails to do documents and scheduling meetings. Well, okay naman, no? Like, it sounds correct. But actually, it's an unparalleled sentence. Perfect, Jesus. Okay, your answer is correct. My job includes answering emails, filing documents, and scheduling meetings. How can you identify what to correct? Simply by looking for the verb. Okay? Ganun lang siya. Okay, now let's quickly move on to prepositions at alam ko you have a dinosaur in your stomachs already. Most probably. Preposition, simple lang naman to. Pero marami ding nagkakamali sa prepositions. Those little details are actually very important because ang problema kasi, very subtle detail siya, pero kung madalas, it gets accumulated. And when it gets accumulated, it eats up a chunk of your score in grammar. Okay, that's why it's very important for us to also pay attention to these details. So we have the preposition in. We use it when we're talking about centuries, decades, years. When were you born? In 19... Uy, hindi ko sasabihin. Baka malaman yung age ko. Pero obviously, in 19 something. So, I was born in 2002. Okay? There's no specific date. That's why we use in. The war began in the 18th century. Okay? Century. Scott and Anna are married for 2 decades. But in their second decade, they decided to part ways. Ang sad. Bakit naman, Scott? Sabi naman ni Anna, it's not you, it's me. Okay. After 20 years, saka palang, it's not you, it's me. Ano? But you know what? It happens, right? Actually, there was an article that I read, but I'm not discouraging marriages and relationships that are long. I'm just saying that there's a study that says relationships are actually going to last 15 years. I mean, yung sawa factor, up to 15 years. And then after that, the struggle to kind of be loose from, how can I put it into a better context? So what I mean is, parang most relationships last up to 15 years. Kaya sa America, since my divorce, they easily just split up and get a divorce, right? But the thing is, of course, if depende yun sa faith mo, okay? If your faith tells you or gives you a conviction that this marriage should last until a lifetime, then of course, iba-iba naman tayo ng perspective sa life. I'm just saying that because of the example that I gave. Okay? So, the preposition on is used on birthdays, holidays, days of the week. So, definitely when you say when your birthday is, you have to give the exact details. Okay? My birthday is on Monday. My birthday is on June 20th. Exact dates, day, okay? Holidays. What are the different holidays? Christmas, Easter Sunday. What else? New Year, Chinese New Year, Thanksgiving, Halloween. Hindi pa yun holiday. St. Patrick's Day, All Souls Day, yes, All Saints Day, All Souls Day. In Korea, ang daming holidays sa Korea. They have Children's Day. They celebrate Children's Day. Magkabukod yun sa Parents' Day. They don't have like a separate Mother's Day, Father's Day. They have a Parents' Day. Pero Mother's Day na sa Sunday, guys. Right? Internationally, Mother's Day and Father's Day are separate. So, ano pa ba yung mga holiday? Wala na akong maisip na holidays. National Heroes Day. Okay. Days of the week. When is our next class? It's on Saturday. Your next class with me is next week. I don't know what day. Next. We use the preposition at when we're talking about a particular time of the day. At night. At 12 o'clock. May specific time, okay? Pero yung in the morning, hindi yun ata. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Yung mga yung rules na ganyan, wala kayong ibang gagawin kundi i-memorize na lang, okay? In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. At night, at noon, when we're talking about specific time, at 9 o'clock. Our class starts at 9 o'clock, but because of the technical difficulty, it didn't start at 9 o'clock. Okay? All right. So, yun lang naman yung reminders about the Preposition Act. Okay. When we're talking about location, we use in for countries and cities, on for streets and avenues. All right? Where do you live? I live in the Philippines. Where are you heading to? I'll be migrating in Canada next year. Okay? Where are you from? I'm from... Ay, wala. Hindi pala from yung pinag-uusapan natin. Where can I find the busiest streets in Manila? In the metro, okay? What is the where is the best place to spend my summer vacation? In Bali, Indonesia, okay? Now, the preposition of location on is used when we're talking about streets. Meet me on Parker Street at 10 o'clock. Walang avenue sa Philippines. Sa ibang bansa lang yun. Ang lakas mo social ng avenue, no? Alright. I stopped sharing because our lecture is gonna end. So RG, hit me up on Messenger for our virtual one-on-one coaching. I think I'll be here until 1:30. So everyone, thank you for participating. I hope to see you guys here at the branch. And have a great weekend. We still have a lecture tomorrow with Sir Kevin, so stay tuned. Bye!